Hi, I'm Jude Matulich-Hall. Welcome. This is Titles, Talk, and Tipples. My guest today is Daniel Monroe.
Being an artist, we, aside from sharing our artwork and sharing what we do, we also like to hear ourselves speak. So,
yeah. I think it's not necessarily an egotistical thing. I think oftentimes when we start talking, we're like figuring things out loud.
Right.
So
that's exactly right.
It tends to seem like we like to talk about ourselves, but really we have no idea what we're talking about. We are figuring things out loud.
That's right. That is absolutely right. You know.
Okay. Well, let's cheers.
Cheers. It's so good.
Indeed. And what is your most recent story?
The most recent one is, I think, Eddie goes to Eddie goes to the wow.
That bourbon's kicking your butt.
It is already. Wow. Well, I'm telling you, I'm 2 in already. Eddie go to the what's the big music hall, the large music hall?
You mean like the one in Nashville, or?
It's like the one. It's like the big shirt and tie. Like black suit and tie.
Carnegie.
Carnegie. There it is. Yep. So that's the name of it. Little Eddie goes to the Carnegie Hall. Okay.
I'll put those in the outtakes.
yeah, please do.
What about? I'm curious about. I was checking out a few of your children's books. So, what is Dennis the Wild Bull about? Besides Dennis the Wild Bull.
Right. Well, Dennis the Wild Bull is interesting because it was written, co-written anyway, by Dennis Rodman. Right.
Okay, now it's all okay.
Right. Well, once you know the name and everything, then it kind of clicks, right? Yeah. Very mindful about wanting to make sure that everybody has that representation.
Yeah, and that's such a big thing right now. And it probably shouldn't be, but it because it should have been this whole time. But
right.
I think it's such a wonderful time of people being represented. It's so important, and the more we see it, the more we realize how important it is.
You have to be good, or the Cucuy is right. The Cucuy is coming to get you, right? So in the first iteration of the book, him and the writer, they changed the name of the Cucuy, just said Jesse and the Boogeyman, the Boogeyman. And I never liked that. I'm like, I said, I don't like that at all. I said, because we came back and redid the book years later. And I said in the second iteration, I said, Jesse, let's just use the word Cucuy.
Sure,
and he's like, well, a lot of American, white America doesn't know what that word is.
Oh, well.
That's what I said. I said, so what?
Yeah.
Right. That's what I said. I said, so what?
Is that your audience? Is that you're not representing those people?
Exactly right. And I told him too. I said, so what? I said, that does another thing. It creates a talking point, right? Mm-hmm. So that you can tell people, well, the Cucuy is, the Mexican version of what you would call the boogeyman or bad spirit or whatever,
Sure.
So that's why we were able to rename the book appropriately, I believe. And actually, my show was showing next to Robot Chicken stuff. That's where Robot Chicken started.
Are you kidding me? Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So my Captain Wallace stuff was actually playing alongside Robot Chicken stuff. So anyway, one day my wife came home. This is a funny story. My wife came home to find me standing in front of a green blanket that I had tacked up to the wall in the living room in this horrible pirate costume, because it was just a costume that I hobbled together from like a good, a thrift store and everything. And I had a horrible wig and just a foam pirate hat and stuff. And she's like, well, what are you doing? I had a little digital camera on a stand. And she's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I be making movies. I'm making videos on. So that's where Captain Wallace started. As I was just going to have just this pirate character just to have fun with and, be a little artistic. And he went through this evolution where over the past 2 years even, I've actually taken the idea and I've turned him into a nonprofit charity organization. So,
nice. That's awesome.
So now we're Captain Wallace Artsy Adventures Incorporated. And what we do is we take arts to children that are especially underprivileged areas. And when they're having to have long stays in hospitals and things like that. And we bring in the arts and we draw with them, show them how to draw, show them how to express themselves. And we have toys and tokens that we leave behind with them and everything. So yeah, it's a good thing that we try to do,
Yeah, that's great.
So one night it was funny. I had a reading by a psychic on there, and she said, she stopped and she said, you know what, Dan? She said, you could do this. And I said, what do you mean? She said, you have the psychic ability about you. She said, you could do this. You could, this could be your job. You could do this. Huh? So that's kind of how I got into that for a while. I mean, that's, people would call me and I'd give them psychic readings and,
Wow.
And I would have people call me back all the time saying, what you told me was exactly on the spot or whatever, so I guess I was pretty good at it.
Yeah. That's super important to me and that draws me to other writers is when, I'm more likely to buy another writer's book when they have boosted other writers. When they're only talking about themselves, I mean, that book could be amazing. I'm never going to know it because they're just so about themselves that,
and that's exactly right. You know what? And visual artists are exactly the same way. Graphic artists are exactly the same way. And that's always one of my most hugest pet peeves is artists. It just, as you so eloquently put it, that are only talking about themselves and they're so focused on their own work.
You're not the only one. Look.
Right.
Reach out.
Right. And that's
honor others.
That is absolutely right. And it's those times when you have to put down your widget.
Yeah.
And you have to go on social media.
Yeah.
And you had to go on sites like you're running, okay? Yeah. And you had to go on those art groups,
sure,
on Facebook, and go around and look at other people's widgets, mm-hmm, and say nice things about their widgets too.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because when you go around and say nice things about their widgets, what's going to happen? They're going to come and start looking at your widgets.
Oh.
Yeah. So, and then maybe, hopefully, they'll say nice things about your widgets too.
and the people that are buying their widgets will buy your widgets.
That's right. They will.
And you will eat, and you will not starve.
Absolutely.
Well, this has been fantastic, Daniel. I'm so glad we had a chance to chat and laugh.
Me too. This has been great.
Sip our bourbon in our pajamas.
That's right. I'm in my pajamas.